You know, one of the greatest sights here along the Mississippi Gulf Coast, or in Mississippi for that fact, is right here in Biloxi. It is the final home of the only president of the Confederacy, and that, of course, is Beauvoir. And Keatsa Stevens, who is, let's see, you handle the tours, you handle scheduling, and you're one of the historians here. How are you?
I'm not really a historian, but I do know a bit about the history because I was a house guide. So you have to learn that before you can give tours of the house.
President Jefferson Davis. This was his final home. Talk about this. This has been here for a long time.
Mr. Brown, the original owner, purchased the property in 1848. He completed construction of the one-story Louisiana summer cottage in 1852. But Jefferson Davis came here in 1877 and lived out the last 12 years of his life here, and when he passed away in 1889. So he stayed in the library pavilion that was originally a schoolhouse for the Brown children as a guest of Sarah Dorsey, the second owner, for 2 years. And then he moved into the main house with his wife, Verena, and their youngest daughter, Winnie.
Man, and the grounds here are absolutely beautiful.
Yes, sir.
If you walk throughout the area, I mean, we're in front of the big house here, and there are so many different things that you can see here, and there's so many great pieces of history here on the grounds of Beauvoir. Why was it named Beauvoir?
Sarah Dorsey stood on this beautiful front porch here and said, "What a beautiful view. I think I'll call her Beauvoir," which is French for beautiful view. And that's what we call her today.
Wow, I never knew that. Learned something today. Now, on either side, I mean, this was the main house.
Yes, sir.
But on either side, there are a couple of smaller homes.
Yes.
What was the purpose of those?
The library pavilion was, like I said, originally a schoolhouse for the Brown children. There were 13 of them. Then in 1877, Sarah Dorsey invited Jefferson Davis here. He stayed there as a guest of hers for 2 years. He paid her $50 a month. That is where he wrote The Rise and Fall of the Confederacy. The cottage over to my right here is the guest cottage for the Methodist ministers. There was a riding circuit and they would stop here and stay the night. But when Jefferson Davis came here, his eldest daughter Margaret was married and had children, and she stayed there. And we renamed it the Hayes Cottage.
Now, if you do have weddings out here.
Yes, sir.
And I've actually officiated a wedding at here. Absolutely beautiful place. The bride gets to get ready.
Yes, sir.
In the Hayes house.
Hayes Cottage.
Hayes Cottage, and then of course the groom and the groomsmen, they all hang out in the library.
In the library.
And then whenever they get ready to walk down the aisle, it's a beautiful sight to see that bride come through the house here, come down these steps and walk out to the front gate there under the trees. But there are a lot of wonderful things to see here. How many acres are here?
Currently it is 52 acres. So we have a lot of brides that get married at the Jefferson Davis Oak. They get married here in the front lawn. Just pretty much anywhere. The only place you cannot get married is inside the house, but we do let you walk through it. And like you said, it's gorgeous to see that bride come walking down the steps.
It actually is. When she comes out those doors and comes down, it's absolutely beautiful. Well, let's go around and show you some other places here in Beauvoir, the final home of Jefferson Davis. I love the garden out here. Is this rosemary?
Yes, sir, it is. We have rosemary in the garden. Miss Verena kept excellent notes and pencil drawings on what her garden looked like, and we planted it at her specifications. Rosemary was a herb she used when she cooked. Jefferson Davis loved the peacocks. He thought they were a beautiful, majestic bird. She didn't like them. They were noisy and messy. So her way of controlling the peacock population was to serve peacock to her guests for dinner. And she used rosemary in that recipe. It was a recipe she inherited from Sarah Dorsey because it was traditional Christmas dinner: duck, peacock, and turkey.
Wow. And you have some turkeys here. We
saw
when we first walked in.
We have 2 bourbon red heritage turkeys. They were an actual breed of turkeys that were on the property when Jefferson Davis was here. So they're a heritage breed, so we're real excited about that.
Got some bunch of chickens over there?
We have chickens. We have 14 chickens.
14 chickens.
Yeah.
And fresh eggs every day.
Yes, sir. The main rooster's name is Ricky, so we call him Ricky and the chickens.
Sound like a good band.
That's what I said. The chickens are very, very people friendly. They love
we see that.
guests.
See that? The kids are playing with them?
Yes.
Hard to feel
Listen to that. Listen to that.
That's Ricky.
Okay. Rose garden.
Rose garden, yes. This is a beautiful, beautiful garden. Greg just received some funding from Miss Joyce. They are very never-ending, you know, raising funds and stuff for the garden, because the garden is very big and it is quite manpower consumable. And so every you know, people, garden clubs and that kind of stuff have a special place in their heart for the garden.
Really nice. And as we mentioned before, there's the grounds here is absolutely beautiful. And matter of fact, we're going to take a quick walk back to the cemetery here at Beauvoir, the final home of Jefferson Davis. And tell us about this arch.
This is a replica of the original that was dedicated by the United Daughters of the Confederacy in 1917. It was out in the front of the property where the big green gate is, but Hurricane Katrina took it down. So they came and built a smaller version of it here, and it is the entrance into our Confederate cemetery. What it also is the walkway that goes to the Tomb of the Unknown Confederate Soldiers. You can purchase a brick to
kind of show your respect,
memorial to your Confederate ancestor. And we do have over 780 Confederate soldiers in our cemetery, because the place was a Confederate veterans home from 1903 to 1957.
Wow. Well, let's take a walk back up to the main building and go to the gift shop. Now, Rosie is the shopkeeper. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you can find here at in the gift shop at Beauvoir.
We try to have a variety of things to appeal to people from everywhere. Flags are very important. So you can find a number of our southern flags. Then we have little special things that are made locally or close to the area. We've got salt scrub that comes from Fairhope. Hot sauce that looks like moonshine comes from, we have a local jeweler who makes camel jewelry for us, because we're so connected to the camel. And we've just got some very unusual items. We've got bird houses that were made by a local gentleman that are just wonderful bird houses.
So people that are local is very important to you.
It is.
Wow, that's
local,
amazing.
Regional, southern. We've got some wonderful cookbooks. And
tell you what you need to do is just plan a day, come over to Beauvoir. They're located on the intersection of Highway 90, just east of Beauvoir, east of the Coliseum, and take a tour through history and see some of the great things that they have here, because it's absolutely amazing. Beauvoir, the final home of Jefferson Davis.